So in this video we are going to see in detail about cursor, what exactly the cursor is. Oracle usually creates some memory space for storing the value that has been fetched using the SQL statements. So though that memory space is called as a context area. To say it in exact words, if you are writing a select query, if a select query is fetching like 100 to 1000 rows, so to store those rows, Oracle temporarily creates some context area. So that for that context area, we can refer each rows by using this cursor. Cursor is something like it is going to be a pointer to that context area. So it can handle one row or a number of rows. So cursor is of two types. One is implicit and explicit cursor. Here we will see in detail about both the cursor. For example, I am going to take a students table. My table is student, where there are 6 number of columns here. You can take whatever the table that you want. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to tell in detail about the implicit cursor. Implicit cursor is nothing but like it will be automatically handled by Oracle. So when there is no explicit cursor, implicit cursor will deal everything, like it will automatically create some memory, and every other thing associated with that queries for a need of memory will be handled by that implicit cursor. So to start with, I'm going to write an update query. So I'm going to update my students table. Initially there is like in the position column I have more number of first data. So I'm going to change the first value as second. So I'm going to write update query. See, there are a number of first update queries, first in the column. So I'm putting an update query. So I'm going to change the position to second, where there is first, data is first in the position. So there is some statement like if SQL percentage found, it belongs to that implicit cursor, which will return like if the above query, like update query, is executed successfully, this statement will become true. SQL percentage found will become true. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a number, let's say n, and I'm going to assign the value of n to, I'm going to assign a value for n which is like SQL percentage row count, which means that whenever this query is true, that is update query is true, which we'll find using the SQL star, a percentage found, I'm going to count the row and I'm going to assign it to the value of n, and just I'm going to print the value of n, that is row altered and n. So this is something like implicit query, like it is an example for implicit query. And again, one thing is like we cannot handle programmatically the implicit query, that is the memory management thing. You can see here there is 14 rows has been altered, so that is what it has been printing, which means that the data where actually the first is present in my position column has been changed into second, and number of rows that has been affected is 14. Now we can see the select query and we'll check. Earlier we saw more number of first there. Now we can see there is more number of second. So it is like caps F, so it is left that. So other thing that is normal first has been replaced with second. So this is some example for implicit query. Now we'll deal with implicit cursor. Now we'll deal with explicit cursor. So for explicit cursor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare a cursor. So before that I can go for some variables or okay. So I will deal with this cursor first. So I'm going to create a cursor. So cursor is something like, as I told you already, implicit cursor and explicit cursor. Implicit is going to be automized by the Oracle. Explicit is going to be declared by us. So in our example here, we are going to declare a variable, say C, cursor C, which is like, it is a select query, select name comma roll number from the table students. So the cursor C is going to deal with the select query the C will contain the row set, which is like name and roll number from the student table, and I'm going to begin it. So I'm going to open the cursor now. Open C, semicolon. Okay, then what I have to do is like I'm going to introduce a loop statement here, loop, and fetch C. Like fetch C mean it is going to fetch row one by one. Since we are introducing loop, that is the procedure. Like fetch C is going to fetch the row one by one into, I'm going to declare some variable here. It is similar to that of select query that you have seen in the Plsql statement. So I'm going to put a variable, say n is varchar of some values. Then I'm declaring R. So I'm going to store that name into n and roll number into R. That is the thing. So cursor C will contain row sets, and the data head will contain name and roll number for the cursor. So the cursor will contain in multiple rows of values, name and roll number. So I'm going to fetch one row at a time, and I'm going to assign the value into say n and R that has been declared now. So I'm going to put a semicolon, and I'm going to exit this loop. When I'm going to exit this loop is like when there is no data in C. That can be written as C percentage not found. There will be something like the percentage found, percentage not found, percentage is open, like that. That is the thing, and limiters. So I'm going to put like percentage. When there is no data in C, I'm going to exit this. Now I'm going to print the value of n and R. N is nothing but the name of the student. And I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to make use for the roll number. So one thing about the cursor is like we are following some procedure. See, first initially we are declaring the cursor, which is not done in implicit cursor. In the explicit cursor, we are declaring the cursor and then opening the cursor, and I am fetching this cursor. And once the program terminates, the cursor will close automatically, or else we can go for close cursor after this end loop statement. It will be done automatically, so we need not worry about that. Or if you want to put, you can put close C. That is up to you. I can run and check this program. What exactly our program will do is like it is going to fetch name and roll number from the table student, and it is going to store in the memory C, and I'm going to fetch one by one, and I'm going to print it. See, name and roll number is printed. You can see that all the name and roll number belonging to this table student has been printed. So I can leave some space there, so it will be aligned neatly. So this is some example. So you can check with this example. If you have any doubt, you can post it in the commands. And similarly, like instead of matching this varchar 2 of 30, we can simply call the data type like of the table. We are putting this roll number from the student table. So instead of putting varchar 2 of 30, we can initialize the data type which is present in the table. That can be done using this statement, students dot roll number. There is a student is a table name, roll number is a column name, and percentage type is going to copy the then the data type of that roll number into R. So when we are running the query, it will give the same output. Sorry, we have to leave some. This is something related, some issues related to the compiler. You need not worry about that. Just leave a space and run again. We'll get the output. That's it. So in this way we can do this implicit and explicit cursor. Similar to that of percentage not found, there is a percentage found. The percentage is open. You can try that too. Thank you.